Good evening. Welcome. Thank you very much for coming today. Thank you all very much. Today is my first attempt at trying to teach a little bit of English. I have been described by some as the final boss of English learning, which is flattering in some ways, but I don't want any of you to feel intimidated. Today, what I would like to do is use some simple English to teach you all a little bit of British culture. I am from the United Kingdom, I am from England, and I understand many of you find English or... Excuse me, there has been a Slack ping. Pardon me, I'm going to mute that. Normally, I have a habit of talking quite fast, but today, I'm going to try and slow right down. I'm going to try and help as many of you as possible to follow along and learn a little bit about how to speak English with me. I've prepared a series of alphabets. You know, A, B, C, all the way through X, Y, Z. 2 of them, in fact. One, which will teach you some very funny and improper British slang terms, and one which will teach you some very important parts of British culture. So, while I'm going to do my very best to use some easy words for you to listen with. However, I may not be perfect. This is my first try at teaching English, but I think it might just stand a chance at teaching you something good. We could have a quiz. It's a good idea. That's a good idea. Right. Class. Are you ready? I'm on no latency, so it's going to take a second. But if you're ready, then I'd like to get started in teaching you about some British slang. We have some very funny terms for you to get used to today. First of all, this is going to be good. First of all, we have... Hang on a minute. I have one quick thing I forgot to do. I need to set a hotkey to move through the slideshow. One moment, everyone. Just very quickly. There we are. All right. Let's have a look. First of all, to begin our ABCs, A is for argy-bargy. Argy-bargy is a term used to describe a playful and funny disagreement or argument or fight. If there's chaos or a little bit of anger in a light-hearted manner, we call it argy-bargy. You may notice as well, I attempted and have followed through in writing katakana for every word we're going to learn today. Although, if you are not Japanese, you are more than welcome to follow along as well. This lesson is for everyone, whether you're from Japan, China, Europe, Africa, South America, anywhere in the world. I think you stand to learn something today. It is 2 words, argy-bargy. For example, used in a sentence, it would be, "Oh, come on now, we don't want any argy-bargy. Settle down, let's not have any argy-bargy." Settle down, let's not have any argy-bargy, meaning, let's not have an argument, let's not fight. aji-baji. Next, B is for Bob's your uncle. Bob's your uncle is a way of ending a sentence with satisfaction. If you're describing your plans, you may choose to end it by saying, and Bob's your uncle. For example, we'll go to the pub and Bob's your uncle. We'll be drunk in 5 minutes. No one knows why this is. No one knows who Bob is. Bob is not a real uncle, unless, of course, your real uncle is called Bob. I personally don't know why this phrase is the way it is, but it's nice to say. I came up with the idea for this stream the other day, and then I said, Bob's your uncle. I'll do it on Monday. Any way of expressing completeness and satisfaction with a situation. It is a bit difficult to explain. You would say it after you have described something. For example, this is actually a very difficult term to describe now that I'm thinking about it. In explaining a plan, as if to indicate, exactly right, and Bob's your uncle, almost as though you're saying, it's as simple as that, just like that. Sentence finisher. That's quite right. You can use it as a sentence finisher. Why not Albert? Why not any other name? Bob Oji-san. Correct. C is for cuppa. This, you see, is a cup of tea. Everyone in the UK loves cups of tea. However, we tend to say these words quickly. Would you like a cup of tea? And when abbreviated or shortened, it becomes a cuppa tea. Sometimes just a cuppa. Would you like a cuppa? Oh, I would love a cuppa tea. Cuppa on its own means cuppa tea. D is for... oh no, never mind. A bonus, a little bonus. CH is for cheeky. Cheeky means an attitude or behavior that is mischievous. If you're pranking somebody or getting up to mischief, you're acting cheeky. And a common thing that parents call their kids is, "Oh, you cheeky monkey. You cheeky monkey." For example, in a sentence, if someone is acting strange or playing a prank on you, you might say, "Oh, cheeky. Oh, the cheek. What you doing, you cheeky monkey?" We've got a few bonus words today because when I wrote out the alphabets, I thought there are so many things I want to include, so there are multiple entries for each letter later on. D is for dodgy. Dodgy means to describe unscrupulous or criminal. For example, if you get scammed, if someone steals something from you, they are a dodgy person. Dodgy might be someone who tries to dodge the law, or someone you may want to dodge yourself. Suspicious is quite right, a sus person, dodgy. E is for egghead. There is a TV show in the UK called Eggheads, which is all about general knowledge and smarts. An egghead is a slang term for someone who is generally very intelligent. For example, my English teacher Vox Akuma, such an egghead. Wow, he's an egghead, isn't he? He figured that out on his own. He sussed that by himself. What an egghead. F is for faff. To faff, or to faff about, means to waste your time on something stupid. If you describe something as a faff, it means that it was pointless, stressful, and a waste of time. Or if you're faffing about, it means to be wasting your time doing something pointless. For example, the assignment this morning was such a faff. Or, let's get to the airport early. I don't want to have to faff about in a rush. Faff. G is for gutted. 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 Gutted means to be absolutely sad and disappointed and crestfallen. Usually immediately following feelings of grief and sadness. If you have lost something and you realize, you may feel gutted. If you lose an opportunity, you may feel gutted. I messed up my job interview. I'm gutted. I was gutted to hear about what happened to you. Gutted. As though you, like a fish, have been gutted. Very sad. H, on the other hand, is for hunky-dory. Hunky-dory means to say that everything is all right. If you're feeling hunky-dory, everything in life is okay, you're doing just fine, and you've got nothing to worry about. For example, when used in a sentence, I got home, had a cup of tea, everything's hunky-dory. Or if checking in on a friend, you might say, is everything hunky-dory in here? I is for in it. In it. In it is a shortening or abbreviation of isn't it, which you may end a sentence or question with. For example, the match was shit, innit? Which would be short for, the match was shit, isn't it? She's fit, innit? Or she's fit, innit? She's attractive, isn't she? In it. Often pronounced without the T. In it. Isn't it equals in it. Correct. It's Tuesday, innit? It's Tuesday, isn't it? J is for jammy. Jammy means to be extraordinarily fortunate or lucky. For example, if your friend won the lottery and became a millionaire, you might say, "Oh, you jammy bastard." Someone is jammy if they are very, very lucky. "Oh, you jammy bastard. You jammy get you." Jammy. K is for knackered. The K, interestingly here, is silent. K is for knackered. Knackered means to be tired, exhausted, worn out. You haven't slept enough, and you're so tired. "Oh, I am knackered." I am absolutely knackered, mate. That's knackered me, that has. I'm always knackered these days. To be knackered means to be sleepy and tired. L is for lurgy. The lurgy is a name for an undescribed or non-specific illness. If you are sick you might have the lurgy. For example, if you have a cold, you could say, I've got the lurgy. Or you might say of someone else, she's got the dreaded lurgy. She's got the lurgy. Have you got the lurgy? To have got the lurgy means to have caught a disease. Where did it even come from? To tell you what, I do not know. But that's the beauty of life, isn't it? That's the beauty of life, innit? But L also stands for lovely jubbly. Lovely jubbly is something you might say when you're pleased, satisfied, or approving. Perhaps if you find something delicious or tasty, you might say, ooh, lovely jubbly. I say this quite a lot personally. If you're working on plans and things work out, you say, ooh, lovely jubbly. It's a nice, sweet little way of saying that you're happy and satisfied. Oh, lovely jubbly. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, lovely jubbly, that is. Oh, those cakes are lovely jubbly. My kindred are lovely jubbly. M is for mug. Now, this does not refer to a mug for tea. A mug referring to a person is a gullible, easily fooled person. If you're easy to trick, then you're a mug. And mug as a verb, to mug someone means to rip them off or scam them. For example, he charged me 100 quid for that, I got mugged. Oh yeah, your mate, he's a mug. You're a mug. This is a slang term, so remember, don't go around calling everyone this. It's not terribly rude, but it's also not very nice, so be careful. N is for nick. To nick means to steal something, in any context. For example, he nicked my purse. He's running around nicking people's money. To nick means to steal. Simple as that. Nick means to steal. Stop thief, he's nicked my bag. O is for on the pull. On the pull is a phrase used to describe going out and looking for a potential sexual partner. Ooh. If you're going to a bar or perhaps a nightclub hoping to make friends with someone you might take home that night, you are on the pull. For example, nah, I'm not coming back to yours tonight, mate. I'm on the pull. Yeah, I've just met this girl at the bar. I think I might be on the pull tonight. And you might say, oh, cheeky. P is for proper. Proper has lots of meanings in the UK. If something is proper, it means that it is the right way to do something, the correct way. To say that you are doing something properly means that you are doing it right. For example, oh, he's not driving properly. That's the proper way to drive. But proper can also be a way of adding emphasis or oomph to a word. For example, oh, that's proper good, that is. If something's very good, you might say it's proper good. Or if something is scary, you might say, well, that's proper scary, that is. Q is for quid. Simple as that, quid is a slang term for British currency, the Great British Pound. If someone asks you for 5 quid, they're simply asking you for 5 pounds. 5 pounds equals 5 quid. Pound, 1 pound is 1 quid. Same thing. Sounds like squid. My dad has if you can follow along with this, my dad has a favorite joke. He says, a friend of mine dumped a dying octopus in my arms, and he said, there's that 6 quid I owe you. If you're maybe that's a little bit more advanced English, but if you caught that, then that's one of my dad's favorite jokes. R is for rubbish. Rubbish. Rubbish just means trash, gomi. But it could also be a descriptor of quality. That film was rubbish. I didn't think that I didn't like it. That book, I thought it was rubbish. But if you're throwing out the trash, or gomi, then that, to us, is rubbish. To leave the rubbish out in the morning for the bins, well, you're putting the rubbish out. And instead of a trash can, we would say bin or rubbish bin. And for the most hilarious piece of stock photo I've ever found in my entire life, S is for skive. To skive means to skip something you should be doing. For example, if you skip school, in the UK, we would say that you're skiving. If you skive off of school, that means you're avoiding going to school. Or if you don't go to work and stay at home, if you say you're sick but you're actually not, then you're skiving. For example, in a sentence, nah, I didn't want to go today. I skived off today. Me and my friend was skiving off of school today. And SH is for shag. To shag means to engage in sexual intercourse. To shag means to have sex. For example, used in a sentence. Would you like to have a shag? Also, I've noticed I've forgotten to update the katakana on there. Oops. Ignore that. That's wrong. I made the slides a bit quickly this morning, so I was bound to make a couple mistakes. T is for taking the mick. Taking the mick means to fool somebody. For example, if you ask someone, "Are you taking the mick?" you're asking them if they're making fun of you. To take the mick also means to make fun of somebody. If you take the mick or take the mickey out of somebody, it means to playfully prod at them. Taking the mickey isn't mean per se, it's just a way of playfully making fun of a friend. Are you taking the mick? Nah, you're taking the mick out of me. Yeah, I was taking the mick out of him. Oh, you're taking the mickey, you are? It's a very common phrase. Lots and lots of people in the UK would essentially, instead of saying, "Are you kidding me?" you would say, "Are you taking the mick?" TH is for thick. Now, this might be a bit confusing. Thick also means, in its normal definition, that something is thick in its size or width or texture. But thick applied to a person can mean that they are stupid. In the UK, when you call someone thick, you're calling them an idiot. So if you talk about me and you say, yeah, Vox Akuma, that guy's thick, that would mean you were calling me stupid. It's not terribly rude, but you still shouldn't say this about a stranger. Now, Take a look in the up in the top right-hand corner. That red marker means that this is a little bit rude. So please be careful. If you do plan on taking a trip to the UK, don't go around saying this to people out of nowhere, okay? U is for up yours. It's an insult, which essentially refers to stick it up your bum. If someone comes at you with something ridiculous, you could say, oh, up yours. Up yours. It's as though to say, I don't care about what you've said. I don't care about what you're doing. Get out of here. I hate what you've said. I hate what you've presented me with. Up yours. Just stick it up. Shove it up your ass. It's quite rude. Not offensive to the point you'd get cancelled, but it's just not very nice to say to people. V is for doing this with your fingers, which is also offensive. In the UK, we don't tend to raise our middle finger. Instead, we raise our front two fingers. This is normally there's nothing offensive about this elsewhere, but in the UK, this is quite rude. The origin supposedly comes from the 100 Years' War, when English crossbowmen would show this sign to the enemy, as if to say, I've still got my two fingers, I can shoot my crossbow just fine, because French soldiers used to cut these fingers off in order to disarm their opponents. As such, it has progressed to become a very rude sign. So, don't go around in the UK flashing this at people. But V is for the V sign, as some people call it. W, also offensive, is wanker. Wanker is a great word, but it is rude. To wank means to masturbate, to pleasure oneself. To call someone a wanker might mean that they're just sort of wasting your time. It gets used a lot in road rage. You might have someone shouting out the window of their car if they've been cut off, "Oh, you wanker!" A general insult which just describes someone as gross, weird, annoying. It's a good word, but again, don't go calling people this if you don't know them. You can call your friends this, if you're close. W is for wanker. You could also use wank to say, I'm going to go have a wank now, but you don't have to tell people that. Keep it to yourself, I think. Now, I've just remembered that I forgot to finish the final... Oh, man. I was trying to coordinate something with UQ Wilson for this one. But give me 1 second, everyone. Just wait for one moment. Okay, hold on. Okay, Wilson is online. He's cooperating. Okay, this is good. This is good. One moment. Sumimasen. Hehe. Can't believe I forgot to do this. But there we go. All done. Okay. So, let's see if that's worked. So, X is for kiss, That's quite right. In the UK, and I'm sure elsewhere in the world, but particularly in the UK, a lot of the time we will end a sentence or a text with an X to indicate a kiss. As you can see on the right here, I texted my lovely wife, UQ Wilson, with a kiss. And he said, "What the hell are you talking about?" I don't know what that's about. We're going to have a discussion. But if you wanted to add a little bit of love to the end of a sentence, you might add an X to say, "Mwah." For example, I could text you, "Kindred, I'm live in 5 minutes, X." And that would be the equivalent of me giving you a kiss. Although, many people will use an X at the end of their texts, even if they're not romantic or even friendly. It's just casually polite in many instances to add an X to the end of a text in the UK. I personally don't do it, but many people do, and it's perfectly normal to do so, even with people that you don't know that well. It might stem from the tradition to give the non-touching kisses on the cheek when you're greeting someone formally, to sort of touch cheeks and say, "Oh, hello there," and touch both your cheeks and make the little kissing sound without actually kissing them on the cheek. Y is for yobbo. Yobbo means just kind of an idiot. A yobbo is someone who is foolish, clumsy, and stupid. If someone's a yobbo, you might say, "Oh, don't do that, you yobbo." You could also say yob as well. Both of them work, and they're both somewhat offensive words to call someone who is a bit of an idiot or is being foolish. "You yobbo, you yobhead." Yes. Thick, well, thick is more of an adjective. If you are thick, then you are stupid. But if you are a yobbo, then that is what you are. You are an idiot. So a yobbo is a noun, whereas thick is an adjective. And lastly, Z is for zonked. To be zonked means to be absolutely dead tired. Perhaps even more so than knackered. You say, "No, I'm absolutely zonked out after that. I'm completely zonked. I'm gone. I'm dead." To say you're knackered would mean that you're really tired, but zonked, you're practically falling asleep on your feet. Zonked. Oh no, I zonked. And to say you zonked out means that you fell asleep. I zonked out halfway through the film. "No, mate, I can't come out. I'm zonked." And that's the end of our lovely presentation on British slang. So, why don't we have a little quiz? Can you tell me what we would call a cup of tea? Cuppa. Very good. Cuppa is correct. Can any of you remember that in katakana? Kappa. Very good. Kappa. Alright. Can you remember the word for when your friend is very lucky? If I was very lucky, you would call me what? Jammy. Jammy is correct. Very well done. Well done. Alright. Next. What in the UK do we call trash or gomi? Rubbish! Very good. Well done. Very, very good. That was absolute rubbish. You're not rubbish. All right. How about... What's a word for an illness? If I say I've got this word, it means I'm feeling sick. Lurgy. Well done, well done. If I'm feeling sick, I would say, oh, I've got the lurgy, I have. I've got the lurgy. Oh, I've got the lurgy. The dreaded lurgy. Very good. Oh, you're learning very well. Let's do one more. Let's do one more. What is it called when you skip out on something? If you avoid a responsibility or an appointment intentionally, what are you doing? What's the word for that? Skive. Very good. Very good. It does mean to skive. Mela, thank you for the super. The V-shaped section. Is it acceptable to use the standard ya hand gesture? Thank you so much. Well, most hand gestures are fine in the UK. As long as you're not showing those two fingers to people on the street, you should be fine. Everyone's saying no. I don't know what... I don't really know what that was referring to. The peace sign? Oh, the peace sign. Now, now two fingers facing forward is perfectly fine. So, if you were to point your hand away, that's rude. But if your palm is facing someone, those two fingers, that is perfectly fine. Nothing wrong with that at all. That still means peace. I'll try and show you some images to make sure you understand the difference. So, in the UK, while this is very big, isn't it? This means peace. This is perfectly normal. Nothing wrong with this at all. Very, very normal. However, that image I showed you earlier, this one, you see the difference? I'm pointing my fingernails toward you. This is rude. On the left, that is rude. But on the right, that is perfectly fine. So just make sure you're aware of which side of your hand you're showing people. It's not illegal, no. It's offensive, but it's not illegal. You're not going to get thrown in jail. Unless you're, if you were running up to someone and being loud and obnoxious and causing a public disturbance maybe, but just flashing somebody with that is rude, but it's not going to put you in jail. Very well done, everyone. I'm very proud of you all. You've learned so well. And we're only halfway done. We've got a whole nother PowerPoint to go through, and this one has some really, really interesting stuff about British culture. So allow me to set up that PowerPoint very quickly. You missed the words for D and F. D is dodgy, meaning sus or suspicious, criminal. And then F means faff, which means waste of time, stressful, or annoying. Okay, let's move on, shall we? Why don't we take a look at British culture? A is for apologizing. Gome. Now, apologizing is common all around the world. Every culture on earth has ways of saying sorry, but British people apologize a lot. British people apologize even when they have nothing to be sorry for. In public, when you need to push past somebody, you might say, "Sumimasen," or you might say, "Excuse me." In Britain, we do say this, but usually we say sorry. If I'm trying to squeeze through a crowd of people, I would say, "Sorry, sorry, 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 sorry." It's just in our mind. It's part of our programming. You say sorry for everything. Even if you're just passing somebody on the street, if you're not inconveniencing them at all, a lot of people will just say, "Sorry." Apologizing is very common, and a lot of the time people may say sorry for no reason at all. B is for Big Ben. I'm sure you've heard of Big Ben. Big Ben is the huge tower, the clock tower, right in the middle of London, right next to the Houses of Parliament. It is on the banks of, or right near the banks of the River Thames, and it is probably the single most iconic landmark that the UK has in its arsenal. Big Ben is very, very tall. Although it's dwarfed by other landmarks in other parts of the world, it's still a very treasured part of the London skyline. And it makes for an excellent tourist destination. If you plan on visiting London, I would recommend taking a look at Big Ben. In fact, I'm not sure. I believe Big Ben bonging again. Oh yes, back in 2022, Big Ben returned to service. It had been out of service for 5 years. The tower itself is called the Elizabeth Tower, and it had been out of service, and Big Ben had not been chiming or bonging for 5 years. But in 2022, it started making sound again. So if you go back to London these days, you can hear Big Ben chime once again. Now we've got another B. B is also for Bake Off. Bake Off is a very, very popular British television show that involves contestants baking in a contest. All they have to do is follow instructions and themes in order to bake the best baked goods they can. It used to be hosted by Mary Berry, but is still hosted by Paul Hollywood. What's the other guy? What's the other guy's name? Paul Hollywood and... Oh, they're doing a Bridgerton one now. Oh. It's hosted by Alison Hammond, Noel Fielding, and judged by Paul Hollywood and Nigella Lawson. It's extremely popular in the UK, and I don't watch it myself, and I'm different for that. Many people judge me for not watching Bake Off. I have seen a few episodes, and I think it's good fun. But most importantly, also, B is for the Beatles. As I'm sure you're aware, the Beatles were arguably the biggest band of all time around the world. They came out of Liverpool in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, and the Beatles completely took the world by storm. There is remarkable footage of what at the time was called Beatlemania, the people's obsession with the Beatles. Not since Elvis had anyone really around the world been anywhere near as famous or as influential as the Beatles. British culture changed forever after the Beatles became famous, and they, in many senses, were believed to have inspired the modern punk rock movement, which was a core part of British identity with regards to politics for many, many years. The UK simply wouldn't be what it is without the Beatles, and neither, really, would the world. C is for the Cornetto Trilogy. The Cornetto Trilogy is a series of 3 films directed by Edgar Wright and starring Nick Frost and Simon Pegg. Those films are Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End. They are so called because a cornetto is a type of ice cream, and in those films, with the same cast, they show the characters eating a cornetto in some scene within the film. So it gained the unofficial name, the Cornetto Trilogy. They are cornerstones, very important parts of British culture, and it's very difficult and rare to find anyone who has not seen these films, or even rarer to find someone who doesn't like them. I would highly recommend all 3, although the second, Hot Fuzz, is my favourite. If you'd like to get immersed in a British village, Hot Fuzz is a brilliant way of doing so, and it's also a really, really funny film. I would recommend Hot Fuzz, 2007 that came out, very much. C is also for corner shop. Now, this is essentially our version of a combini. Corner shops there are many independent corner shops, and these are little, essentially, convenience stores where you're able to get essentials, food, drinks, and so on. You call them combini, we call them corner shops, although many more corner shops, in my experience, tend to be independently owned, which is always nice to see. A lot of them are owned by old couples or by families. But of course, Tesco, Asda, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, Aldi, and Lidl are other good examples of British corner shops and supermarkets. D is for Doctor Who. I'm sure many of you have heard of Doctor Who or have watched a lot of it. Doctor Who is a very, very famous British television series that has been running for, I think, since the 1940s, if I remember right. Doctor Who is a story about an alien called the Doctor who time travels in this police box that he uses to travel the galaxy through space and through time. Every few years, the Doctor is portrayed by a different actor, most famously Matt Smith and David Tennant, although recently Nkuti Gatwa, Jodie Whittaker, and oh gosh, I can't remember the man before Jodie Whittaker, but it's very, very popular in the UK and has been going for many, many years. Christopher Eccleston was sort of the turning point for it, but we're not going to get too much into details. If you like British television, this is a very, very good one to check out. D is for Diana. More widely known as Princess Diana, but many, many people in the UK prefer to simply call her Diana because she's our Diana, our Lady Diana. Diana was the Princess of Wales before she sadly died in a car accident, but before her death, she was an incredibly influential person who defied a lot of the conventions set by the royal family. She was famous all around the world and was a complete icon, a fashion icon, a feminist icon. Princess Diana was an incredible woman who was loved all around the world. And it is very rare to find someone in England who is not fond of her. Even people who despise, well, especially really, people who despise the royal family really love Princess Diana. And it's a part of national pride really to know how popular she was and still is all around the world. D is also for David Bowie. David Bowie, as I'm sure many of you know, was a very influential musician and artist and actor. David Bowie was responsible for some incredible music such as Ziggy Stardust, Starman, the Space Oddity, and many, many, many more. His influence is felt in British art even today, and you can see him in lots of films as well. He featured on a song with Queen called Under Pressure, which was very, very, very influential at the time as well. If you'd like to listen to some British music, I would highly recommend listening to anything by David Bowie, although my favorite song of his is called Heroes. By the way, please let me know if I am ever speaking too quickly. I am feeling a little excited to share a lot of this with you, so if I get a bit excited and I speak too quickly for you to keep up, please do let me know and I'll try to slow down. E is for EastEnders. EastEnders is what we in the UK call a soap. A soap or a soap opera is, well, we don't really call them soap opera, they're just a TV soap. EastEnders is an incredibly long-running television show set in London's East End, hence the name. The reason I've chosen this stock photo is because it's a running theme on EastEnders for a character to chase another character out of their pub and saying, "Get out me pub!" I've never really watched EastEnders, but many, especially women in their sort of 40s and 50s are very, very fond of EastEnders, and it becomes a weekly tradition for the whole family to sit around and watch EastEnders and catch up with these characters. Now, how many episodes of EastEnders are there? As of February 2025, there have been over 7,000 episodes of the BBC soap opera EastEnders, which first aired in 1985. The show has, as of last year, been running for 40 years and has more than 7,000 episodes, so there is a lot to catch up on. It's not the kind of thing that you would want to watch from the beginning. You simply join in with whatever's happening at the moment and try to learn as much as you can from there. Similar soaps include Coronation Street, which is set in the north, and Hollyoaks as well. F is for Fleabag, and this piece of art remarkably was available on Adobe Stock for use, so this is just the likeness of Miss Phoebe Waller-Bridge. Fleabag is an incredible BBC TV show that I would very much recommend you all watch. I might call it one of the greatest pieces of feminist media ever made. It is a hilarious story about this woman who, known only as Fleabag, who goes through life and tries to navigate her terrible family situation and her own horrendous personality issues. It is widely praised for being very, very funny, as well as having an extremely well-rounded and deeply flawed main female character. It's not a very long show, the episodes are short, but it is well worth a watch. I would highly recommend you watch Fleabag. F is also for Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury was best known for being the lead singer of the band Queen. If you've heard songs like "Don't Stop Me Now" or "We Are the Champions, My Friends," or, as mentioned earlier, "Under Pressure," Freddie Mercury was, and still is, widely regarded one of the greatest vocal talents of all time. He came right out of the UK and was a music icon for many, many years. He sadly passed away. From AIDS, and highlights how important it is to avoid hate when it comes to treating each other with respect, and also with helping each other avoid disease. had there been no hatred or prejudice towards gay men at the time, perhaps we would have been able to give him the help he needed. But as a result, we are left with an incredible musical legacy and one of the greatest pioneers of British music that we've ever seen, one of the greatest British musicians of all time, and one of the greatest musicians of all time, period. In fact, little known fact about Freddie Mercury is that he had very wonky teeth. He had teeth that, with his money, I mentioned this literally yesterday, he had very wonky teeth. And so he could have, with his money, gotten those teeth fixed, but he chose not to because he believed it made his singing better. And he was famous, yes, I like the hiragana there. Ayo! Ayo! You may not be familiar with him as a character, but you certainly have heard his voice. I didn't get a very good picture for this. G is for Graham Norton. Graham Norton is an absolute darling of British television. He hosts what I think is the funniest British talk show of all time that you could possibly watch, because he has a way of getting celebrities to loosen up and give us the best entertainment possible. Watching Graham Norton feels relaxing and fun because you can tell everyone on the show is having a good time. He's a lovely, very camp gay guy, and he is giving the best kind of banter, drama, whatever it is. He knows how to get the best answers out of all of his guests. I would highly recommend, if you love a bit of celebrity gossip, if you love talk shows, give Graham Norton a watch because he is so funny and he gets the most humor out of his guests as well. Now, you've all heard of this one. H is for Harry Potter. Regardless of how you feel about its author, there is simply no way of denying the impact that Harry Potter has had on British culture and on culture around the world. Isn't he Irish? Well, that I'm sure may be true, but his show is very well loved in the UK. His show is very well loved in Britain, but of course, Irish people are not British. That very much is to be seen. Harry Potter is really the most famous fantasy franchise to come out of the UK, which for a country responsible for King Arthur, Arthurian legend, is quite impressive. It has timeless themes that connect with many, many people, and it's very popular among British actors as well. Many of them making jokes about how they personally are one of 2 British actors, hyperbole of course, that are not in Harry Potter. Harry Potter. And I love Harry Potter. The books I really enjoyed reading, and very much a big fan of the world, and especially of the music composed by John Williams for the films. Anyway, moving on. I is for the in-betweeners. Can I get a show of hands? How many of you, if you leave me a 1 in chat, how many of you have seen the in-betweeners? How many of you are proud of me for coming up with this? I got a stock footage of a yellow car and painted the door red. If you know, you know. The In-Betweeners is a classic British comedy about a group of 4 lads from the UK who can't seem to find the popularity that they so desperately crave. It highlights what I think is the most important part of British humour. British humour is about pain and suffering. American humour, by contrast, tends to be more focused on slapstick and general zany situational comedy, whereas British comedy usually focuses on characters making horrible mistakes and suffering the consequences. The In-Betweeners is one such television program. In The In-Betweeners, our 4 main characters offend and destroy their relationships with countless people. It is a black comedy. There are very many dark, very offensive jokes in here, but it's handled with a lot of class and never tries to make its own offensive subject matter into something that you could justify. The In-Betweeners is incredibly funny, and I would probably go as far as to say in terms of scripted comedy, I think this is one of the best we've ever done. But make sure you don't watch the American In-Betweeners. The Americans tried to make their own version of the In-Betweeners, and it was real bad. It was real bad. So watch the British one. J is for James Bond. What? Who's that? He's pointing a gun at me. James Bond, of course, is the very famous British spy series based on a series of novels by Sir Ian Fleming. Now, Sir Ian Fleming was a real-life spy, and so a lot of his work is based on real experience, although very exaggerated, hyperbolic. These are all big words. I'm trying my best. To use simple English, but sometimes it is tricky. But you're all doing very well and following along great. Now, I've also forgotten to update the katakana on there as well, but that's fine. James Bond. Very good. James Bond famously has... the books were very famous, but James Bond has been very, very popular, mainly in cinema, portrayed by actors such as Sean Connery, Pierce Brosnan, Daniel Craig most recently. James Bond is an extremely successful spy franchise and is a really huge part of what people recognize about the UK. James Bond is a suave ladies' man who wears great suits and always gets the job done. J is also for Jane Austen. I've left out the N on that katakana. Damn, I knew I had that one right. But I just missed it out. Anyway, Jane Austen, next to William Shakespeare, as one of the two greatest British writers of all time. Jane Austen wrote many, many novels by hand all the way back in the Georgian period, in the 1800s. Many of her books you may recognize, such as Pride and Prejudice, Emma, Northanger Abbey, and many more. She only ever wrote, I believe, 6 books, but those books have gone on to be incredibly influential pieces of women's literature, feminist literature, and broke many conventions at the time. Back in the 1800s, in her day, it was unheard of for women to publish their own literature, and so she published her books under a false name. She pretended to have a man's name in order to get her works published, but following her death, her I believe one of her siblings, I may be getting the history slightly wrong here, but one of her siblings told the world her true name and who and what she really was, and now she has become incredibly famous as a result. And so we benefit a lot from knowing the truth about who Jane Austen was. And it begs the question, how many influential people throughout history were actually women? We may never know. It's thanks to the brave sibling of Jane Austen that her name is so widely known today, but we may never have known that if she hadn't chosen to come out of that. So we should be thankful for that, but also wonder, perhaps more people throughout history were actually women and didn't reveal that to us. A lot to think about. Very interesting, I think. K is for keep calm and carry on. Keep calm and carry on, you might recognize. It's a very, very iconic and famous poster that originally was designed by the British government in 1939. What many people don't know, though, is that back in 1939, this was never printed or published. 1939 saw the beginning of the Second World War, and the British government printed this in order to try and... It was a propaganda effort to, as it says, keep British people calm and happy, to say, don't worry about the war, don't worry about what's going on, keep calm and carry on. However, no such real crisis emerged. Even though during the Second World War the UK was horrendously bombed, there was no tremendous panic, and so these posters were never used. The government at the time were afraid that people may find it insulting or condescending. They were worried that it would make people feel like cattle, so they didn't print it. But in the year 2000, these posters were discovered, and they became a core part of British art and design. Many of you may have seen these posters before. They have simply become a funky piece of culture now, although they were originally meant to avoid public panic during the war. L is for the London Eye. The London Eye is a more modern addition to the London skyline, being built in, I believe, 1999. The London Eye is obviously much newer than Big Ben, but it is incredibly iconic, and it's a wonderful place to go if you plan on seeing the city. It's a big wheel. If you've ever been on a Ferris wheel, this is one of the biggest Ferris wheels you can go on. It puts you in little glass capsules, and it takes you all the way up so you can get a really good view of the entirety of London from all angles. I really enjoy. I've been on it a few times. I like the London Eye quite a lot, and if you're going to visit, I think that this has to be somewhere on your itinerary for checking out London. Although if you're scared of heights, it's a little bit scary to go on, although it is very slow, so it's not intense, but you do go quite high up. I'd say be brave. M is for mum. Mum is funny because in the rest of the world, or in the US especially, people say mom, mommy, but in the UK we say mum, mummy. Dad is the same, D-A-D, but mum is spelt with a U. Mum, mummy. In a sentence, I love my mum. I love my mummy. If you wanted to call me mommy, I would ask that you call me mummy instead, although not the kind that comes out of a tomb in Egypt. This is a stock footage of a gnome, a stock image of a gnome that I edited very quickly to look like Noddy. Noddy is a classic children's television show from the UK. It's very well loved, and Noddy is a very iconic piece of imagery from the UK. Noddy, of course, is for little children. I have never really watched Noddy, given my age. I'm a little too old to enjoy Noddy, but the character is cute. And fun little fact for you, in French, the French localization of Noddy, in French, there is no word for nodding. You see, noddy is named after the action one does when saying yes and moving your head up and down like so. Nodding. Noddy. But in French, they don't have a word for that. So Noddy's name in French is oui oui. Yes, yes. Oui oui. Noddy's theme song goes, Noddy. And in the French theme song it goes, oui oui. So I had to use, obviously, stock footage for today. So this is not actually One Direction. This is a generic boy band image that I got off of Adobe Stock this morning. But O is for One Direction. I think many of you will have heard of One Direction, or at the very least heard of some of their breakout stars like Zayn Malik and, of course, Harry Styles. One Direction were, if you'll allow me a moment to have some water. One Direction were finalists on a British television show called The X Factor, which is used for musical acts. It's a contest to see who can do the best music in a band or in a solo act. One Direction were contestants, but they didn't win. I believe they lost. Did they lose to, is it Diversity? Let me remind myself, because I think I watched the episode live at the time. Who did One Direction lose to? Matt Cardle. Diversity was a different year. I think Diversity beat Susan Boyle. Diversity beat Susan Boyle. That was what I forgot. But yes, One Direction competed in this big British television show, but they did not win. They lost, which is surprising because they became so successful afterwards. One Direction were a very, very famous band, especially in the UK, but also very much around the world, with an audience of lots of particularly young girls, teenage girls. One Direction made all kinds of songs about love and "Baby, you light up my world like nobody else." Particularly a standout was Harry Styles. A lot of people thought he was the most attractive member. He sort of had he was one of the better singers and all of that. And so Harry Styles has gone on after One Direction broke up to have a very, very successful solo career. One Direction were a really core part of the UK for a good few years around sort of the advent of the 2010s. And they were never really my scene, being that I'm not a teenage girl, but a lot of you might have really liked One Direction. P is for pub. The pub. The pub is the most, I think, important part of British social life, bar none, by far. If you go to the UK and if you have any friends, eventually you will go to the pub. Many of you will be at the pub every single day. The pub is a place to go and have drinks, beers, wines, all kinds of great food. Pub grub, we call it. You can get a roast dinner, you can get pizzas, fish and chips, anything. Pubs, sometimes owned by chains, a lot of the time independently owned, can serve whatever food they want, they can serve whatever drinks they want, but all that matters is pubs are everywhere. They're a great place to socialize, great place to make friends, and just a great place to hang out. Going to the pub is such a joy. It always fills me with so much happiness to be surrounded by my friends, or even to go by myself and just enjoy a pint in a beer garden by myself. If you go to the UK, even if you go by yourself, I must recommend go to a pub. You must go to a pub, try some local beers. I'm sure you will enjoy it very, very much. And usually, yes, people get very drunk. There are plenty of different types of pubs. Some pubs are very chill and relaxed. Some get a bit noisy, a bit rowdy, a bit clubby. Some of them tend to be pub versus bar. Well, a pub is a very specific thing. Pubs have a bar. It's where you would go to order your food and drinks. But a bar tends to be more sort of a cocktail thing, cocktails, and pubs have a different style. Pubs they benefit from authenticity. They feel rustic. They feel vintage, I'll say. Leather seats, wooden surfaces, saloon doors like you can see over there, wooden tables. It's all about that down-to-earth, relatable, homemade feel. But bars can sort of be whatever you like. Now, what's really interesting, I'm going to show you this. How many pubs do you think there are in the UK? Just throw out a wild guess. $100,000, a million, 10,000. Well, these are all good guesses. And I'm going to tell you something. I'm not sure. But what I do know is that there are so many of them. I don't know if we'll ever know quite how many. What I'm going to show you now is a map of every single pub in the UK. Every one of those markers is a pub. Do you notice how around the center of the country it just becomes a solid dark red color? Yes, this is how many pubs there are in the UK. Now, the size of the markers does make it seem like there's more than there is, but no matter where you go, there will be a pub. I have been to villages in the UK that have 4 houses, a post office, a corner shop, and a pub. There will be a pub. No matter where you go, no matter how remote you are, somewhere nearby, there's probably going to be a pub. How many pubs are in the UK? I want to know. There are approximately 41,000 to 45,000 pubs in the UK. Although this is a significant decline because there were 63,000 in 1990. So 45,000 is actually less than there used to be. Many of them are closing down, which is sad, but there's still many of them left. You have 45,000 pubs. Can you go to them all? I want to go to them all. I'm going to live forever. I'm going to go to every pub. All right, next up. This is fascinating. Q is for queuing. Queuing obviously is practiced all around the world. Forming a line. It happens. British people, however, are different. Built into our DNA, built into our mind, is queuing. No matter where we are, if there are other people, we will attempt to form a queue. We're like rats in a maze. We will always form a queue no matter what. No matter where we are, we will attempt to form a queue. And the funny thing to me is, I wasn't really aware that this is considered a uniquely British thing. Although I'm seeing many of you saying that Japan is quite the same, and this I'm sure is the case. I believe Japan and the UK have cultures of politeness, of quiet politeness, so this makes a lot of sense. But for a long time, what I've heard now that this is apparently quite uniquely British, although as many of you are saying, quite popular elsewhere in the world too. I guess I've spent so much of my life forming queues and thinking it's normal that I never realized that it was a unique thing. But no matter where I am, I notice if I'm waiting for anything, I will find a queue to join. I think a big, we were talking about pubs, a big place to exercise this is at the bar when you're hoping to get a drink at the pub. There is no line per se, but in your mind, when you go to a bar, you will form a mental queue. You will start queuing inside your head. If whoever arrived soonest to the bar will be served first, and everyone will prioritize organizing that queue in their heads. I've been in the UK for 100 years. I have never in my life, seen someone jump a queue at a pub. Never. I have never ever seen someone go up to a bar and try to say that it's their turn to be served before it is. They will always honor whoever genuinely was first at the bar, which is a miracle, I think. I've never seen anyone break that social code, and I think that's good. It's just a little bit of politeness. So no matter where you go, if you're in the UK, it's polite to make sure that you're queuing for things. Whoever arrived first gets to go first, and you're going to wait your turn. Next up is a lot of you will of course relate to this as well, but British people, perhaps this is more a sign that British people love to complain. R is for rain. Rain is such an important part of what it feels like to live in the UK. It feels like it rains every day here. Even though we have lovely sunny summer days, sometimes the summer will be filled with rain. I think one of the reasons why we get so much rain is because it could sort of happen at any time. It doesn't matter if it's warm season or cold season, rain can come any day, at any time, for any reason. If you're outside, there's a chance it might rain. Sometimes the weather forecast will say it'll be sunny, but then it turns out to rain anyway. It rains all around the world, but nobody complains about it more than British people, and I'm proud to say that I personally love the rain. I like the aesthetic, and it makes me feel relaxed. I find it comforting. One thing I have often thought to myself is when I'm stressed or overwhelmed, I think about the fact that everyone in the world feels the same, really, about rain. Rain, no matter how much wealth or power you have, rain will stop you just as much as it would stop anyone else. If you need to go and drive somewhere, but there's too much rain to safely use the roads, you and anyone else in the world would need to stay home and wait. And that brings me reassurance, I think. We're all the same at the end of the day. Water is water. Rain is rain. R is for Robbie Williams. Robbie Williams is a very famous in Britain pop star, originally made famous by the band Take That. The reason he is a chimpanzee here is because a film about him came out 2 years ago called Better Man. In Better Man, he is portrayed by a CGI chimpanzee. Robbie Williams is a somewhat controversial figure in the UK, given his checkered history and troubles with relationships, but he makes great music, and he is really, fascinatingly enough, a pop star that is a household name in the UK. Everyone in the UK knows who Robbie Williams is. Everyone has heard his music, but Americans insist that they've never heard of him. It's a very bizarre cultural divide to think of someone like Robbie Williams as being one of the most famous musicians that you could possibly think of, and yet outside of the UK he was not a known quantity. Although in parts of the world he was famous as well. Oh, was he famous in Asia too? That's good to know. That's good to know. You might know him for many of his songs, such as my personal favorite is Rock DJ, but also I believe Angels is a staple funeral song. What else has he done? I'm drawing a blank here on Robbie Williams' songs. Yeah, Angels, Feel, She's the One, and of course, Let Me Entertain You, Bow Dow Dow, which had the best scene in the film. In the film, the Let Me Entertain You scene was brutal, really profound. And I would highly recommend, actually, Better Man. Better Man, the film about Robbie Williams' life, where he is a monkey, is a very artful and brilliant film about his life and work, where nowadays films about famous musicians get made all the time, A particularly egregious example, I think, is Bohemian Rhapsody, the film about Freddie Mercury. Freddie Mercury had a very rich and complicated life, and the film did not delve into that much at all. But Better Man is a really excellent view of Robbie Williams' entire life, his all of his flaws, warts and all, and it's shown in a really brilliant and very artistically interesting way. If you'd like to learn about an icon of British music from the 2000s and watch a great film, Better Man is very, very good. Very, very, very good. S is for Strictly Come Dancing. Once a year, around November, Strictly Come Dancing airs on British TV. This show is extremely popular. It's a show where British celebrities, sort of D-list celebrities, not super famous, but relatively so, will participate in, will get paired up with each other, and they will have to learn dances, waltzes, and tango, and so on. Couples dances. It's very, very well liked, and tends to be a really engrossing watch when you're rooting for a particular couple to make it to the end. I think, yes, it's similar to Dancing with the Stars, but for us it's called Strictly Come Dancing, and in this country everybody watches it, or very many British people watch it every year when it comes on. Similarly to I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, which I would have put on the list, but on I we had, what did we have on I for culture? The In-Betweeners. I think that while I love I'm a Celeb, In-Betweeners is more important. Sh is for Sherlock Holmes. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of Sherlock Holmes, arguably the most famous detective novel series that's ever been released. Sherlock Holmes is famous all around the world for being a really engrossing set of detective novels that have been adapted countless times into all sorts of different films. There have been films there was a film series with Robert Downey Jr., which were good fun, directed by Guy Ritchie. Enola Holmes with Millie Bobby Brown. Essentially, Sherlock Holmes has had a very good run of it and is a really important part of British culture. But of course, BBC Sherlock, the modernized version of Sherlock, is very iconic and represents a really huge era in Tumblr history, with Super Wholock being a whole thing. The BBC Sherlock is flawed, I would say. It's a good watch. I like it, but it doesn't hold its own. The first 2 seasons I like. When you're not thinking about the flaws and you're just letting yourself like it, I think that BBC Sherlock is good. I like it. But season 4 it fell off pretty bad. Now this is important. T is for tube. The tube is what we call the subway, the underground. Now, I'm sure wherever you're from, you have been on some kind of underground metro, but in the UK, we call it the tube. And the tube was the first ever underground metro system in the world. In fact, the first ever underground locomotives ever made. The tube is a very vast network of trains that run all throughout London, and they are, to this day, although not the cleanest in some places, they are very, very efficient. Trains, for example, if you're in central London and you want to get on perhaps the Bakerloo line, let's say if you needed to get from central London to Paddington Station, if your flight home was soon, you wanted to get to Paddington, you might need to get on the Bakerloo line. Bakerloo line trains leave every 2 minutes. Every 2 minutes there's a brand new train, so it really is not going to take you very long to get away. The tube trains are so convenient that I have never really looked at times or planned my journey around when the trains are going to be, because I know that there will be a train whenever I arrive. They're extremely convenient, and for what they are, very well run. But the tube staff do need to be paid better, and they're on strike all the time, and they should keep doing that. The U is for Union Jack. And I need to keep drinking water because my mouth is dry. The Union Jack is what we call our flag. The Union Jack represents the UK. So I'll take a moment now to tell you about the difference between England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom. So let me get a map for you right away, because this is important. Let me get a map up so I can show you. All right. We'll come back to this in just a moment. I think this is very important for you all to see. And not the map of the pubs. All right. So, what we can see here is England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, and Northern Ireland. Now, the United Kingdom, or what we call the UK, is England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. You see the orange at the top of Ireland? That is a part of the UK. But Ireland itself, the larger landmass, some people call Southern Ireland, is not a part of the UK. When people talk about England, they are specifically referring to the green mainland here, not including Wales or Scotland or Ireland. England is just this. And in fact, England, all of these places, have their own flags. The English flag, many of you may know as the Red Cross flag. The Scottish flag is, we have it in chat, it's the blue, the blue flag with the white X. And then the Irish flag is that green, white, and orange stripe as well. And the Welsh flag, of course, features George and the Dragon. Yeah, the Welsh flag I think is my favorite. I'll show you all the different flags, but just so that we're clear. As a reminder, Northern Ireland, Scotland, England, and Wales make up the United Kingdom. England is this mainland here, and then Great Britain is. I'm gonna actually suddenly nervous. I'm getting this wrong. I believe Great Britain refers to. Yes, Great Britain refers to this island. So, the island on the right is Scotland, England, and Wales. That is the island of Great Britain, not including Ireland. So that's the difference. Make sure that you don't get that mixed up, because Irish people don't like to be called British. Because they aren't. Let's remember, United Kingdom is Northern Ireland and Great Britain. Great Britain is, of course, this easternmost island, and then England is this right here. And that's where I am from. But let's take a look at all those flags. So this is the flag of England. That's the flag of England. So the main island, or the mainland that you may think of, that's the English flag with London in it and all of that. In it. Then the Scottish flag is this blue X shape. I'm just going to show you all of these to make sure we're all on the same page. Scotland is this. Now the Welsh flag makes reference to a classic Great British legend of George and the Dragon. As the tale goes, St. George of Wales slew a dragon in order to rescue a princess. That story is known as George and the Dragon, and that dragon is a part of the Welsh flag, which is very cool. I think having a dragon on your flag is pretty great, although I am pleased that I don't have to often, if I'm needing to draw a flag, I don't need to draw a dragon on it. It's a lot more convenient that way. And then, of course, the Irish flag, although not a part of the UK, it's important to remember that, is this very simple green, white, and orange. Where is it? It didn't show up. Where is it? Help. I got to do this one with a bit of a texture on it. It's quite inconvenient. Oh, go on. Oh, what a faff this is. Oh, what a faff this is. I'm so tired of faffing about. Okay. This is a link to, this is a fabric flag, so it's just going to look a bit crumpled. But there's the Irish flag. There's the Irish flag as well. And Northern Ireland, as we know, has no official flag of its own. The Union flag wraps it under its whole banner. However, originally they did have their own flag, which has this red cross with the crown on it as well. So this specifically is the flag of Northern Ireland, but does not refer to the whole of Ireland itself. All right, these are the different flags. But remember, that one in the top left, Ireland, is not a part of the UK. Just a part of the, it's just an island next to Great Britain. Bit of an advanced lesson there, but thank you all for keeping up. Are you AI? No. I'm as real as they come. I'm just talking slow today because we have some English, so we have some ESL learners today, and I want to make sure that they can comprehend everything I want to say. All right, let's move on. There's not much left. All right, V is for Victorian. Queen Victoria. Maybe next to Queen Elizabeth, one of the most well-known British monarchs. Her reign heralded the Victorian era, which was a very well-known period of British history, and was the time at which many of Britain's terrible atrocities were committed. So perhaps it's the fact that it's so well known may not be for the best, but it's certainly true that the Victorian era is certainly one of the first that comes to mind when people think of the eras throughout British history, such as the Georgian period, which is when Jane Austen was from, and of course, the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution, of course, did propel us forward in technological and industrial progress, but came at a terrible ethical cost. I mean, back then it was normal for children as young as 12 to join their fathers at work. It was a very, very different time, a very, very different time indeed. There are some incredible drawings. I think I'm hoping I'm getting the history right here, but yes, there are some quite chilling photographs of children as young as 12, boys, particularly boys as young as 12, with flat caps, wearing the same clothes that their fathers would wear, going to work in factories, the same demanding, physically laborious jobs that their fathers would do. So was it worth that much progress to have these children suffer in that way? I don't think so, but that is a part of history now. It's and what a shame that it is. But Queen Victoria certainly did propel the UK in quite a fascinating direction, but was it worth the suffering? Many people do not agree, and I wouldn't count myself among them myself. But in a lighter note, W is for Wetherspoons. We've talked about pubs, but Wetherspoons is perhaps the most iconic chain of pubs the UK has to offer. Wetherspoons is famous for being available all over the country. Wetherspoons is simply a company that will purchase and operate free houses, or which is another type of pub. And these pubs have the same food, same drinks, with some some regional differences, meaning that you can always get the same type of alcohol and food that you would expect to get from any Wetherspoons around the country. The other nice thing about Wetherspoons is that it's really, really, really cheap. And a lot of their cocktails tend not to be too strong, so you can drink lots of them without getting drunk. One of my favorite things to do at Wetherspoons, and what sort of the meta at Wetherspoons is to get yourself a pitcher. You can get a pitcher of cocktail, you can get a pitcher of something like Sex on the Beach. I tend not to go... trying to remember, do they have... hang on. I'm trying to remember. I've not been on like a bender at Wetherspoons in a while. Purple Rain, yeah, that was it. My favorite to get at Wetherspoons is Purple Rain. I would get a pitcher of Purple Rain, but because their cocktails are a bit weaker, you can definitely finish the whole thing yourself. Don't take my word for it. Drink responsibly. But Wetherspoons is a great place to go for a party. It's a great place to go to hang out with friends. It's a great place to go just to enjoy some cheap food. I love to get just a simple bowl of chips, and I think personally they're not amazing, but I think the pizza at Wetherspoons is really nice. You can get yourself a pizza and a pint and just have a really nice, relatively cheap pub dinner out. It's a great place to be. Now, they vary a lot in quality. I've been to some spoons. Many people in the UK, we call them spoons. We don't say, oh, Wetherspoons every time. It's just spoons. The slang term, I guess, is spoons. You'd say, oh, do you want to go spoony? Do you want to go spoons? And we would go to spoons. They tend to sort of be very different. I think the best spoons I've ever been to is probably the Moon in the Square in Bournemouth. That one is just very regal feeling. It's got lovely carpets, super spacious, loads of place to sit down, a lot of happy memories in the Moon in the Square. Although also in Bournemouth, the Mary Shelley is another Wetherspoons just up the road that is not as nice, but tends to be where you go to drink before you go to the club. They can have lots of different roles like that, but I recommend it. If you are finding yourself in Bournemouth, the Moon in the Square is good, but there are lots of nice Wetherspoons all over the place. So give them a try if you're in the UK. I think you're going to really enjoy it. I'd like to apologise once again, as is my nature as a British person, for having such a dry bloody mouth. I need to drink some more water. Now, we mentioned it before. X is for X Factor. The X Factor is a British TV show that judges musical acts particularly. There are other shows like it. Britain's Got Talent, for example, is a talent show for general talent, but the X Factor is more focused on music. X Factor was famous for giving rise to One Direction, and also, I believe, for giving rise to Susan Boyle as well, who I believe became quite famous after the fact. It's funny, a lot of the most famous alumni from the X Factor came second and didn't actually win. Oh, Little Mix as well. Yeah, I'm not really... the only thing I know about Little Mix is... what is it? There's a guy I used to know who I used to work with who was a Little Mix stan, and he had a Little Mix stan account, which was kind of funny. Susan was Britain's Got Talent. Yes, that was diversity. God, yeah, I don't watch much telly, to be honest. But yeah, the X Factor has done a lot. Very famous as well for having good old Simon Cowell. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Simon Cowell, who really Simon Cowell is the most successful. And Ollie Murs really as well. I know. To be honest, I never really watched it all that much. It was never really my scene. But Simon Cowell is famous for being a very strict judge. A lot of people know about Simon Cowell simply because he's quite firm and mean when people get up on stage. And while he's a bit of a pantomime villain, and a lot of people don't like him, his role as a judge is very important. Is very important. The other judges on the X Factor and Britain's Got Talent tend to be very supportive and nice. Having him to draw some contrast, it does make for great TV. He can be very, very mean, but I think that his part in the TV world is definitely, it definitely deserves to be there. I don't think he's like Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is, gosh, I wish I put Gordon Ramsay for G, because he was Scottish, and I feel embarrassed not remembering that Graham Norton was Irish. I'll edit the slide and we'll go back and we'll talk about Gordon Ramsay. But yes, X Factor, really big part of British culture. Simon Cowell, One Direction, and so on. All very famous alumni from it. And it's also a good show. The funniest thing about X Factor is the sob stories that they come out with, and how a lot of the time you'll be more likely to succeed on the X Factor if you've got a really, really sad backstory to give them. If you go on and you've not got a sad backstory, then they can't make good TV out of you, and you might not make it that far. It's also good fun and very good British humour to watch. It's very good British humour to watch the auditions, because some of the acts that they audition with are very, very bad. Very, 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 very bad. And they are so embarrassing and painful. Like I said, the most pain you could imagine comes from British humour. Y is for Yorkshire pudding. Oh. Yorkshire pudding is one of my favourite foods. It is a pastry, a meaty umami-y pastry that often accompanies, or pretty much always accompanies, a roast dinner. Roast dinner is a lot like Christmas dinner, only usually without turkey. We will have roast dinner with roast beef, roast chicken, or lamb with cow cannon, lettuce, all kinds of lovely food, gravy, mashed potatoes, and a Yorkshire pudding, which usually you pour the gravy into the Yorkshire pudding and it holds it like a cup, and then you have it at the end. It's not a pudding in the traditional sense. It's not a dessert, but you will tend to save it for last because it is quite savory sweet. I think that they are very, very, very tasty. So if you're in the UK, I'd really recommend try and taste a roast dinner, because Yorkshire puddings are the best part. You got to save the best for last. And hilariously, Z is for Zed, because people like to have a go about how we pronounce this. It's not, the last letter of the alphabet is not Z, it is Z. We say Z. And I personally have fallen off of this. I've spent so much time around Americans and Canadians and the French that I have wound. It's not as though the French pronounce it Z. I don't actually know what the last letter of the French alphabet is, but whatever. Z is how we pronounce it. And sometimes I accidentally say Z. And whenever I say Z, I feel really embarrassed. Yes, I'm sure they say Z in Australia as well. X, Y, and Z. Well, that's it. That's the end of the arts and culture section of our lesson today. Well done, everybody. I rambled quite a lot, didn't I? But I hope that you all learned a lot. I hope that you all learned a lot from that, and you've all been enjoying getting a bit of British culture in. Z, egg, bed, and leg. I feel like the moment I started reading that, I thought they were tricking me into saying something offensive. But I'm way too alert for that sort of thing. I get so caught up and worried about these things. All right, now that we've done that, why don't we do a little quiz? All right. So, for art and culture, who beginning with F, was a very famous British singer with wonky teeth? Let's see. Freddie Mercury. Correct. Freddie Mercury is an incredibly famous British singer from Queen. Saku, thank you very much for the gifted. Thank you so, so much. All right. How about... What is the big Ferris wheel in the... what is the big Ferris wheel in London called? This is an easy one. The London Eye, the London Eye. Very, very good. Correct. It's the London Eye. That was an easy one, but I knew you'd get it, because you're smart. Alright. Now this is a hard one. You may not remember this. What was the name of... What ice cream was this British film trilogy named after? Beginning with C. Cornetto. Correct. It was the Cornetto trilogy, which, again, if you haven't seen them already, get some subtitles on and watch Hot Fuzz or Shaun of the Dead first. They are very, very good films and will give you a really good taste of proper British culture. Okay. What else have we got here? Okay. Who was the Princess of Wales? What was the name of the very famous Princess of Wales? Diana. Very, very good. Very famous. Diana Spencer. Our Lady Di. What is the name of a popular British television soap set in East London? EastEnders is correct. And for a bonus point, we talked about it earlier. How many episodes have there been of EastEnders? No Googling. Can you remember? Correct. 7,000 episodes of EastEnders have been produced since 1985. All right. Now let's go for one that's really hard, okay? Which... How do I word this? How do I word this question? Which countries are a part of Great Britain? We have some division here, guys. We have some division. The correct answer is that Great Britain includes England, Scotland, and Wales only, because Great Britain is the island to the east. The United Kingdom includes England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. Remember the difference. Great Britain is the bigger mainland, And the United Kingdom is the kingdom including Northern Ireland. But that's a tricky one. That's a tricky one and quite easy to forget. But remember, no matter what you do, never call an Irish person British because they won't like it. And in honor of that, I'm going to homebrew real quick. I'm going to very quickly edit the G slide because I forgot that Graham Norton was Irish. So I'm going to edit it to be about Gordon Ramsay instead. And then we'll talk about Gordon Ramsay for a little bit because I love Gordon Ramsay very much. But hang tight, this won't take me very long. I promise it won't be a faff. In the meantime, why don't you think about some of what we've learned today? And why don't, I've got an idea. If you'd like to, we can try talking why don't you try talking in chat using a bit of British slang that you've learned? Why don't you try using a bit of that? Can you try and remember some? Get a bit cheeky. Very good. Are you feeling jammy these days? So what have you been lucky with? Get in the queue, chat. Get in the queue. X. That's better. Mwah. X to you too. Right. I'm gonna write out the katakana. Gordon Ramsay. Let's see. I just stick it into Google Translate to see if it can figure out what I'm saying. Okay. There we are. So we just got to add the lines in. I've been really enjoying today learning how to say a lot of or learning how to write more in katakana, learning how to use the little dash. All right, last of all, I have to get some kind of chef image off of Adobe Stock. Gordon Ramsay. What does it come up with when I search Gordon Ramsay? Yeah, a lot of these are going to be. Okay, well, they've got a little clip art of him. They've got a little clip art of him, so I guess we'll use that. It's quite silly looking. Oh, come on. Sometimes it takes a while to download. They're always just like making you sit there. Come on, let me have it. Cheeky bugger. Oh, very good. Very good. Everything's hunky-dory. Willerton is mummy. You guys are learning very well. Such a good teacher. Thank you so much. I'm very nervous today. Very nervous indeed. There we are. Well, I suppose one of the reasons why I didn't think of Gordon Ramsay to begin with is because Gordon Ramsay is so well known internationally. And he's done so much content and so much television in America as well. Momonuka, thank you very much for the super. Totemo benkyou ni narimashita. Thank you very much for the super. Arigatou gozaimasu. Itsumo arigatou. And well done for all of your learning today. So here's the little slide I've made for Gordon Ramsay. Look at that. So that's a funny little clip art I got off Adobe Stock. Look at that. Gordon Ramsay. It's very silly looking, isn't he? So, back into teaching mode. G is for Gordon Ramsay. Gordon Ramsay is a Scottish chef and celebrity chef. Best known for his television series and his many, many restaurants. You could also call him a restaurateur. He has become a staple of meme culture in recent years for memes such as "Where's the lamb sauce?" and "You donkey!" Yes, originally, I believe he is from Glasgow, although I will have to double check. Where was Gordon Ramsay born? Johnston, Scotland, although he was raised in Stratford-on-Avon, England, at the age of 9. Stratford-on-Avon is where Shakespeare was from. What are you? An idiot sandwich. Gordon Ramsay is well known for his incredibly mean, angry, and loud personality, but anyone who has watched a lot of his television can tell you that he simply is very, very passionate about food. On my personal favorite show of his is Kitchen Nightmares. Now on Kitchen Nightmares, if he goes into a restaurant and finds unclean kitchenware, unsafe practices, anything that might mean, essentially what pisses him off more than anything is people not taking their job seriously, people who don't take food service seriously. He loves food and he loves to cook, and when people take advantage of that or they annoy him in any way, that's when the anger really starts to come out. Otherwise, he's just a brilliant chef with a lot of passion and a lot to give to the world. I love Gordon Ramsay being a part of Great British culture because he is. I respect him. I respect him so much as a chef and as a person. It's so nice to be able to tell, that he. So nice to be able to tell that he. Sorry, I've completely lost track of what I was saying. So nice to know that he's maintained his passion for cooking. Now, an interesting fact about Gordon Ramsay is that he, at one point in life, used to be an aspiring footballer. He actually had a promising future in football. As we're all well aware, football, as some of you would call it soccer, football is very, very popular in the UK. Almost as popular as it is in Latin America. But of course, Latin America, football is almost religious, cult-like. But it's very big in the UK as well, extremely big. And Gordon Ramsay was going to be a successful football player. He had tremendous talent and promise, and he was in a sort of a very exclusive football club for his region. But he suffered an injury. I'm not sure what injury, I can't remember off by heart what the injury was. But he suffered an injury and, in his own words, was told in everything but words to fuck off. And he had no purpose for a long time. He didn't know what he was going to do with life because all of his dreams had been shattered by this. He had no future in football after having had this injury. And it was after that he began to train as a chef and eventually became an apprentice chef under Marco Pierre White, who was a very successful chef and celebrity chef at the time. There's a famous clip of Marco Pierre White talking about how he made Gordon Ramsay cry. If you think Gordon Ramsay is tough and scary, you should see Marco Pierre White. Now, when asked about why he made Gordon Ramsay cry, Marco Pierre White simply said, I didn't make him cry. He cried. He chose to cry. And it highlights the intensity of the chef world. If you're in food service, especially if you're in a high-ranking Michelin star kitchen, you have got to work incredibly hard. And Gordon Ramsay has exposed that world to many of us who will never see the inside of a chef's kitchen. And so I'm very grateful to him for that. And I'm very proud to be British and to be a part of the same legacy. So I did have another list for you, but this stream has already gone on for quite a long time. My mouth is dry, and I actually didn't have enough time this morning to make a third set of slides. So perhaps next week I'll come and do another English learning stream. That time, what I'd like to talk about is British food. I had a third list, an alphabet of British food, but I didn't have quite enough time to finish all the slides. I actually only had enough time to finish those two, and I barely finished the second one. So I think what I'd like to do next Monday, for our next lesson, what we could do is a tier list of British food. Yeah, scran. That's good. Scran. A tier list of British scran, and I'll tell you all about different snacks and different meals and different cuisines. And, oh gosh, Mr. Bean. That's the thing. Everything I've listed here has been a really essential and core part of the British experience, and many of you are bringing up really important parts of British culture that I didn't even bring up. Mr. Bean, right? A really, really essential British character because of his worldwide appeal. Mr. Bean, so famous all around the world, and in Japan especially. I understand in Japan you guys love Mr. Bean. We love Mr. Bean in the UK as well. He's really, really important. And so funny. Rowan Atkinson, really, one of the funniest actors that we have, and in every role. But many people, Mr. Bean is so popular, many people don't even know who Rowan Atkinson is. The only person they know is Mr. Bean. Peppa Pig, of course. Peppa Pig. Do a list of iconic media. There's a lot to cover. Blackadder, yeah, all of it. There is so much that we didn't go over here. But that's why I want to tell you all, if you are interested in the United Kingdom, if you're interested in British culture, in English culture, you must come and visit. You must come and see the country for yourself. If you've wanted to go on holiday for a while, if you've been saving up and you're not sure of where to go, I would highly, highly recommend coming and checking out the United Kingdom in the summer. I think that it's a really wonderful place to be, and there's so much culture that you could never get from a stream like this. Shakespeare. I didn't even mention Shakespeare. I mean, William Shakespeare, arguably the most influential writer in history besides perhaps Homer, Teletubbies. Oh gosh, there is so much I didn't get to mention. But no matter how much I tell you, no matter how much we learn, there will always be more to learn. Not just about my country, but also about the English language. There's so much that we will have to learn together, and so I'd like to learn more with you next time. Next time, I think it would be really good to do a food tier list, but maybe another time we can have a watch-along, watch some British films together, all kinds of stuff like that. Monty Python, I mean, come on. Monty Python. Gosh. I love Monty Python. My favorite Monty Python film is The Holy Grail, but that's besides the point. So, I just wanted to say thank you all for your attention today. Thank you all for learning so well. Well done for having paid such good attention and for having learned so much. JP English Learner, thank you for the super. Good that you were here today. Understood most of what you said today. Well done. Looking forward to next time. I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Angelia, thank you for the super. Aini, thank you so much. Say, thank you for the super. Thank you for the lesson. It was so much fun. You made British culture and slang easy to understand. I'm really glad you thought so. I had a lot of fun doing this. I really enjoyed getting a chance to chat with you all and teach you something. Miri Lively, thank you for the super. I learned a lot today. You're a patient teacher. Words and facts selected were perfect. I'm glad you thought so. I hope you get a chance to visit soon. Ichiko, thank you very much for the super. Looking forward to next class too. I'll see you then. Thank you. Nanase, thank you for the super. Arigato. Thank you so much. Alright, well, if that's all, then I'll say class dismissed. Go and enjoy break time, because I'll be seeing you all tomorrow for, I'm playing this game called Grun, where you have to be a gnome. You have to play as a gnome, and you have to tend to a garden, and it's also scary. So I'm going to play that tomorrow. But next week, I'll be back, possibly, with more to teach you about the United Kingdom. I'm glad that so many of you enjoyed my GeoGuessr stream as well. Some of you saying it was like you had a guide. It was very sweet. Very, very sweet. I hope I can keep guiding you through more to learn about my country that I love so very much. And hopefully I'll get a chance to learn about your countries. I added katakana to the slides from seeing a lot of interest from a lovely Niji JP fans over the past few days. But of course, wherever you're from, whether you be from Japan, from China, from Southeast Asia, from South America, from wherever it is, I'm very interested in learning more about you, about your culture. So let's learn together, shall we? Why don't we learn a little bit from each other? Great. Well done today. I'll see you all next time. Make sure to study, and best of luck. Now go and enjoy your break time. Class is dismissed. Where's the music? Actually, I like the, where's the song of the day? This is Edward Elgar. It's really good. This is a British classical musician.